A new Friday the 13th series is in development. Let's talk about everything we know so far.
Well, sometimes that is better.
Hey everybody, what's up? KillJoy Jake here, and instead of having friends, I have horror movies. Today we're talking a little bit about a series, not a movie specifically, the new Friday the 13th series titled Crystal Lake. This is super exciting because it has now been 13 years since we have gotten any new Friday the 13th content in general. So this is really exciting news. I can't wait to talk about everything we know so far about this Peacock original. But before we do that, I'm going to need y'all to like this video and subscribe for more horror content in the future. So finally, the wait is over for some kind of announcement, because last Halloween, which was just a couple of days ago, we got the announcement that a brand new Friday the 13th show is heading to Peacock. Last Monday, Variety made the hugely surprising announcement that Peacock has ordered up Crystal Lake, a Friday the 13th prequel series from Brian Fuller, who also did the Hannibal show. Now, obviously, this is super shocking that we got this news. It's been 13 years since anything happened because of that messy court case and all that. Trust me, we'll be talking about that a little later in this video, but the craziest thing about all of this news is that the studio A24 will be the production company behind this new series. A24 doing the new Friday the 13th was absolutely not on my 2022 bingo card. This has got to be one of the best studios putting out horror movies today. I love so many of the movies that have come from this studio. So many of these movies I feel like have become instant classics, like Hereditary, Midsommar, The Lighthouse, or what about X and Pearl just from this past year? A24 is constantly pumping out bangers, rarely missing, so I really think that this show is going to be another badass entry to this franchise. It's not the simplistic Jason movie I wanted, but you know what? I'll take it, and I still think this is gonna be good. So far, there really aren't any plot details about the new Crystal Lake series, but Peacock has explained that this will be some kind of expanded prequel to the original Friday the 13th. Friday the 13th is one of the most iconic horror franchises in movie history, and we were dying to revisit this story with our upcoming drama series, Crystal Lake, said Susan Rovner, chairman of entertainment content for NBC Universal Television and Streaming. We can't wait to get to work with Brian Fuller, a gifted, visionary creator who I've had the pleasure of being a longtime friend and collaborator, along with our incredible partners at A24 in this updated version for Peacock that will thrill long-standing fans of the franchise. Also commenting on this, Brian Fuller said, "I discovered Friday the 13th in the pages of Famous Monsters magazine when I was 10 years old, and I have been thinking about this story ever since. When it comes to horror, A24 raises the bar and pushes the envelope, and I'm thrilled to be exploring the campgrounds of Crystal Lake under their banner. And Susan Rovner is simply the best at what she does. It's a pleasure and an honor to be working with her again." Now, although I am very excited about all of this news, some people online are a little concerned about what this prequel can and can't use. I know a lot of people were freaking out when they found out that this series is specifically coming from just Victor Miller, which, if you remember from the court case, I'm not going to get into the legal BS stuff because I'm not the person to try to explain that to you. I'm just some stoner who lives in Ohio. I don't have a degree. But what I can tell you is that Victor Miller technically just owns the rights to Friday the 13th and the characters within, not adult Jason technically. Because if you remember from that film, or maybe you've seen Scream from 1996, adult Jason doesn't appear until the second film. But thankfully, Variety has reported that Rob Barsamian, who is also attached to Horror Incorporated, you know, the company on the other side of that legal lawsuit, is going to be attached to this project. So legally, they can have adult Jason in there technically. Commenting on this, Brian Fuller said, "We can use everything. We can go to hell, we can go to space. If we do go 10 seasons, I will be lobbying hard to go to space." This is exciting news and also relieving news, because this was like worst case scenario for a second there. But because we have adult Jason, that kind of fixes everything in my opinion. I mean, imagine making a slasher sequel that doesn't focus on the main killer that made the series popular. Wouldn't that be crazy? But maybe after this nerdy white guy screaming a bunch of facts at you about this new series, you're still not convinced that this Peacock original is going to be good. I mean, don't get me wrong, those two words kind of scare me a little bit. Peacock original. Have you ever heard those two words attached to any very positive projects? I really haven't yet. According to Brian Fuller, they are not only going to have 5 times the budget of the Hannibal show that he ran, they are also technically already signed on for a season 2. Speaking with Fangoria, Brian Fuller said, "One of the things that is super exciting and one of the many reasons that we went with Peacock is that they blew every other competitor out of the water. There was a bidding war on this, and they came in strong and gave us a full season commitment with a huge penalty if we don't do a second season. So it's kind of a 2-season commitment, but really just the first season commitment. We're going to have have roughly 5 times the per episode budget that we had on Hannibal. So this is huge. If you've never seen the show Hannibal like me, I've really only seen 3 episodes, so I can't really speak on it, but it has rave reviews. Running for 3 seasons, the Hannibal show that Brian Fuller did not only had a somewhat low budget for television, it also garnered super rave reviews. All 3 seasons are listed pretty highly, and if the Crystal Lake show can do anything similar to that, I think it's gonna be pretty good. Unlike the Halloween franchise that has pretty definite timelines all across the board, the Friday the 13th doesn't really have any like definite things to continue. There really isn't another horror franchise that is more sporadic in its storytelling than Friday the 13th across all 12 of the movies, so if they wanted to kind of just do whatever they wanted with this new series, that's sort of fine to me. I don't want a series that kind of just explains everything and connects literally every character to one big thing. That's just gonna be an over-explaining exposition show that I don't think anyone would really like personally. I'm not a big fan of things that just over-explain things. The more unknown something is, the scarier it is. But why would we want a horror TV show all about explaining stuff? Like, that just would be super boring in my opinion. This show will probably and primarily focus on Pamela Voorhees while also building up Jason in the background. Maybe he's a kid, maybe the first shot of the show is him drowning and then like coming back to life or something like that, and we get to see Pamela raise him in secret. I don't know. Something really cool this series could do is that maybe after Jason drowns or almost drowns, maybe Pamela saves him or whatever, or maybe he comes back to life because of some kind of supernatural force, whatever. Jason is very obviously supernatural from some of those movies, so if they want to take that route, I'm fine with it. But something cool this series could do is that maybe Pamela is hiding Jason because he's presumed dead by everybody else, but somehow he's still alive. Maybe he escapes from the house and like goes after the campers that tried to drown him. Really, all that is too is just a little more complex version of your typical Friday the 13th movie, Jason going after a bunch of campers. But now you'll be able to develop characters in the background while also connecting it to other established characters in the franchise. That honestly would be perfect. I don't think it needs to be any more complicated than that, and I don't think we need an entire show focusing on just Pamela Voorhees. I would love to instead see her downward spiral into madness because her son is killing people and she is struggling to cover it up. That would be perfect in my opinion and a great lead-in to that original film. But as of right now, I am super excited for the new Crystal Lake series coming to Peacock probably next year or maybe the year after that. Whenever it comes out though, your boy's gonna be doing updates on it, and I cannot fucking wait for this show. What do you guys think about the Crystal Lake series though so far? Leave me something about it in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching this Everything We Know video on the Crystal Lake series coming to Peacock probably next year, maybe, I don't know. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more horror content in the future. If you want to support this page further, you can support me on Patreon or become a channel member by clicking that join button on my page. Thank you guys again for watching, and as always, don't forget to kill it out there, y'all.